Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.
And don't forget, if you want to listen to the news as a podcast whilst you're out and about, you can do so by searching for WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. But coming up today, another impending disaster for WWE in Saudi Arabia.
Speaking of Saudi Arabia, I've got a backstage update on Rusev and why he was pulled.
WWE have pulled a Hail Mary to try and keep Matt Hardy.
Vince McMahon wasn't at this week's Raw.
Huge news on NXT's involvement in WrestleMania 36.
Tessa Blanchard takes a little pot shot at Becky Lynch.
Stories today, this is the news.
Alright, this is going to be a long one, so let's fire straight in. We are going to kick things off with a little discussion on one Samoa Joe, suspended. 30 days wellness policy violation. He is out of there. WWE announced it on .com last night. The official statement read as follows. WWE has suspended, I have no idea how to pronounce his real name, Samoa Joe for 30 days effective Monday, February 24th for his first violation of the company's talent wellness policy. This kind of corroborates an old WrestleVotes report from 2 weeks ago. That was a weird one. There's a weird situation there because the WrestleVotes report came out and they were like, hey, there's going to be more suspensions. And then they posted a picture of Samoa Joe. But then a few hours later, they were like, nope, sorry guys, we were wrong. Our sources misinformed us. Not happening. And then 2 weeks later, it happens. So Lord knows if this is all tied together. Lord knows if it's just a happy accident. Either way, Joe's out of there. We explain why Joe didn't run down to help Kevin Owens the other night when he was getting beaten up by every dude in the world. But he is also injured as well. He got hurt while filming a commercial the other week. So it's not been a good couple of weeks for Samoa Joe. Here's hoping that when he does return in 30 days' time, things improve.
Yeah, there's never a good time to have a wellness policy violation, but, I mean, the Saudi Arabia time of year, combined with the fact he's already injured and the fact that, if my math is correct, he won't miss WrestleMania, well, at least in theory, if they utilise him for that show, then a good time to be busted for a talent wellness policy violation?
I guess it's kind of a tough one to read into because wellness policy violations don't really result in any other punishment beyond the suspension. You're not going to get bumped down the card, you're not going to get punishment booked or anything like that unless you do it like 7 times in a row, I guess. But if my maths are right, and I'm not very good at maths, I think Joe would be back in time for the 30th of March episode of Raw, which would be the Mania Go-Home, which leaves very little time to build anything for the pay-per-view. But, I mean, if he was going to be on that card, he would be in, like, a Battle Royal or something anyway, right? So, yeah, he should be back in time for WrestleMania. Hopefully his injury's cleared up by then as well, the poor bugger. Either way, man, 2020's not been kind to him.
No, absolutely not. Fingers crossed for more luck later on this year for Samoa Joe. We'll come back to him with some of the Twitter questions as well a little bit later on. We're going to move on and talk about Super ShowDown, combined with a pinch of WrestleVotes, although they have been proven to be pretty correct in recent weeks. So, of course, Super ShowDown is tomorrow night. We're going to be doing a live stream for it. Make sure you join us for that. But WWE really haven't learned their lesson. Really haven't. So, of course, in November, when we had the Saudi show, there was all those issues with talent getting back. I mean, in the end, we got a great episode of SmackDown as a result of it. But WWE haven't learned their lesson because, according to WrestleVotes, they are still using the same flight company as they did for that November show, Atlas Air. Apparently, WWE's management said they were going to look into alternative charters for the next trip, and then they've just gone, yeah, we're going with Atlas Air again. I do like the fact that WrestleVotes, who, you know, do have a bit of banter sometimes on Twitter, but also are a fairly reliable source, as you said there.
Yeah, they've become.
They've ended this tweet about Saudi Arabia with just the word LOL.
LOL!
They're using Atlas Air again. LOL. So, yeah, looking forward to a 2-hour John Cena promo on Friday night.
Yeah, it sounds boring. LOL. Yeah, man, what are they doing? What are they doing? I mean, we had so many conflicting reports behind the reason for the previous delay. There was technical faults. There was Vince getting into an argument with the Crown Prince, which was mental. The only people who really know what happened, I guess, were the people who were there, right? Like, so many conflicting bits and pieces have come out. It's hard to make sense of it all. But, you know, if the airline was at fault, what the hell are you doing? Like, I don't know. I'm no logistics coordinator. I'm no flight guy. But let me tell you, brother, if there was a spare seat on Brock Lesnar's private jet, I'd be making like Hulk Hogan and getting on that bad boy.
Yeah, it's going to be, yet again, a fascinating few days if you're a WWE fan. If you're a wrestling fan, I suppose, because we have, obviously, NXT and Dynamite tonight. You have Super Showdown Thursday. You have SmackDown Friday. Then you've got Revolution from AEW on Saturday. Just get me my popcorn. I'm so intrigued.
It's going to be a good ass week. Speaking of good weeks,
yeah.
Rusev. We've got actually a conflicting report here. Yesterday we sat here and we told you a report from PW Insider stating that Rusev had been taken off the Super Showdown card because he hadn't signed a new contract yet, because of the contract dispute between him and WWE. But Shagger Dave, that rascal on Wrestling Observer Radio, is now reporting that the actual reason Rusev was taken off the show is because he's got a back injury. There's no word on the severity of it or how long he'll be out for, but Rusev is suffering now. What's interesting here is that PW Insider are now saying as well that yes, he does have a back injury. So was he taken off because he's injured? Was he taken off because of the contract dispute? I reckon probably a bit of both.
Yeah, little from column A, little from column B. My sources have told me that he got the back injury carrying that god-awful Bobby Lashley, Lana, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott storyline because it's a piece of crap.
Should have lifted with his legs.
Indeed, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I think I am inclined to agree that they've gone, oh, lucky that you got a back injury because you ain't bloody going to Saudi Arabia, mate.
Yeah, you're not getting that payday, brother. Every single time we have to report on Rusev, I sit there, I look at the story, and it's like once a week or something. Like there's like, hey, Rusev's future. I just look at it and go, oh, cool, more stuff. Because it's constant. It's this direction, it's this direction. That. Brother, sign a new contract or bugger off. Because I'm tired of talking about it.
Rusev is a case study into WWE screwing up with a good thing on multiple occasions.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Oh, he's undefeated. He's heading to WrestleMania. John Cena beats him. Oh, Rusev Day's really over. Don't give him the tag titles.
Yeah.
We've got this weird storyline where he's getting cooked that is amazingly got over. Have him lose to Lashley every week. Sorry, Rusev, mate.
She was a lovely guy. They just don't like him.
Right, let's talk about Matt Hardy now, from one man who may well be leaving WWE to another. And just when we all thought, I suppose, that's it, Matt Hardy is out the door. Whether or not he's the exalted one in AEW's Dark Order, who knows, but I think it's fair to say he is gone. Or is he? Because according to a report from PW Insider's Mike Johnson, WWE, as I said, have pulled a bit of a Hail Mary here. They're on the verge of offering Matt Hardy a role in NXT in an attempt at convincing the veteran to stay and sign a new deal with the promotion. Mike Johnson said on a recent episode of his site's Elite Audio show that WWE had made a lot of overtures to Hardy in the last couple of weeks. And Johnson added that his gut was telling him that Matt Hardy would re-sign with WWE. Of course, his current deal finishes on the 1st of March, which is what, like 3-4 days away, 5 days away?
Yeah, next, it was like Sunday or something. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Man, this is weird, isn't it, right? I mean, I can't imagine that they'd bring Matt Hardy to NXT to be a wrestler.
No.
Which would be weird as hell. A coach role, a producer role, something like that could suit him well, but I think the guy still wants to be creative on TV doing his thing. So let's see what happens next week, I guess, because that's when his deal's up after Sunday.
I kind of hope he stays, as much as I'm sure he'd be wild and wacky in AEW. I just think that I'm an eternal optimist. I'm always, so you're telling me there's a chance. And I think there is definitely still something there with Matt, with Jeff, with his involvement in NXT. Like we said, he's so inventive, he's so creative, as we've seen. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. Having a mind like that on NXT is only going to be beneficial.
This is very true.
Right, you know what? We've got 3 more stories left. Speed round. Let's just rattle through them so we can get onto the Twitter questions of today's and finally.
Let's do it, baby. Vince McMahon wasn't present at this week's Raw, according to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio. That's it. That's the story.
That's it. Okay, right. Let's talk a little bit about WrestleMania 36. A lot of people question whether, how much, I should say, NXT are going to be involved with that show. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, not a lot, to be perfectly honest. Of course, we know that there is that match for the NXT Women's Championship between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, but according to Dave, that is it. No other NXT matches on the show, which is kind of disappointing, but then also keeps that TakeOver Tampa a mint show, no doubt. Meltzer also adding that there are going to be 14 matches scheduled for the Showcase of the Immortals, which, good news, is 2 less than last year. So maybe it'll only be I don't know, 8 hours rather than 9 or something.
I'll take it up only half of my waking hours in the day this time. And finally, I shouldn't say that, and our last story of the day, Tessa Blanchard being a rascal on the Twitter machine. Last night's Impact saw her go one-on-one with Ace Austin, the X Division champion. It was for a shot at that belt, but not Tessa's world title. Impact themselves tweeted out the promotional graphic for the match. Tessa quote tweeted it saying, "Tessa 2 belts?" ? In what looks like a little nudge, a little wink, and a little point at good old Becky Lynch, who of course was Becky 2 belts after WrestleMania 36. Nice, it's not really a big break in story or anything. I just thought that level of scampery should be pointed out and appreciated.
Gimmick infringements. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, if you want to get in touch with us. Path Satherwain, I hope I got that right, gives us our first question today, asking about Samoa Joe, saying that now that Samoa Joe has been suspended for 30 days, and considering his multiple recent injuries even, do you think Vince will make him a permanent commentator? Because Jerry Lawler...
There's a good chance. So we've heard things like, Sami Zayn maybe still having problems with his shoulder, make him a manager. Various other wrestlers have slotted. Corey Graves is a good example of a guy whose injuries caught up with him and he slotted into commentary and kind of made that role his own. I could see it. I think Joe will be very good at that. If he has to step away from the ring, I'd kind of like to see him as a manager, though. I want to hear those promos. I am always inclined to have a callback to when CM Punk was a commentator for a while. Like I say, I think if you utilise him in that way, even if he's not injured anymore and after the suspension and what have you, just keep him on there for, say, 6 months, wait for a good storyline to come along for him to justify him going, you know what, no, I'm taking this shirt and tie off and I'm getting back in there and I'm choking you out or whatever. I think you could do some really good stuff in that, to be honest. But let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Brian Odom with the second question of the day. Brian says, have you watched the Ruthless Aggression series on the WWE Network? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? I, for one, am really enjoying the series, and the latest Evolution episode revealed a lot of info I've previously never known. Brother, I refuse to watch that program. I'm sorry, I'm not going to watch a single minute of that. I've been reliably informed from a number of people whose opinions I trust greatly that it is that it is a big fat propaganda piece full of lies, nonsense, and other kind of cover-ups and stuff. I saw the little bit about Vince McMahon saying, "Hey, we renamed it WWE. It was me being a genius. It had nothing to do with the wildlife panda guys and stuff." I'm not watching that garbage. If other people find it entertaining, go for it. I'm not going to criticise you for that, but I have no interest in it. I'm sorry.
Of course I've watched it. I'm a massive WWE mark, and I distinctly remember that time period. And having come from the Attitude Era, having sort of been introduced to WWE in the Attitude Era and then gone, what's happening over here? Yeah. It is well worth a watch, to be perfectly honest, especially if you lived through it. But as with WrestleVotes, arguably it's double WrestleVotes, a huge pinch of salt, especially for that first episode, as you mentioned, sort of introducing Ruthless Aggression, where Michael Rappaport bends the truth a little bit, if I'm perfectly honest. But the John Cena one was really interesting. The Evolution one, I've not watched the whole thing yet, but the introduction to it is fascinating, talking about how Ric Flair, when he returned to the WWE, was a kind of shadow of his former self, how they introduced the likes of Randy Orton and Batista to the group, the other person who was meant to be in Evolution, which I'll get to in just a second. But I'd say it is worth a watch. But don't take it as gospel. Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, if I had a few beers and watched it kind of ironically, I'd probably get a hoot out of it, but full of lies.
All they seem to say is, Stone Cold and The Rock had just left, and they say that on multiple occasions for different years.
Yeah.
So, and they're like, Ruthless Aggression, here comes John Cena. And John Cena openly admits in his episode, I was crap during Ruthless Aggression. Like his initial introduction, he was great. Obviously, he did the line with Kurt Angle, punched him, fight, etc. And then, they do openly admit this. For the next 6 months,
wasn't great.
He was going to be gone. He was going to be gone until Stephanie McMahon heard him freestyling on the back of a bus and said, "How do you remember all those words?" Because, Stephanie, it's not a scripted promo. He's improvising. Maybe think about that when you give someone a promo. Sorry. A little moment there.
That's getting clipped.
Anyway, final question today comes from your friendly neighbourhood ring announcer.
Oh.
Really good question, this, and one worth debating in the comment section. They say, which match in WWE history would have had the biggest impact on today's landscape if the decision had been reversed?
Oh, that's a great question. That's one of the best questions we've ever had.
Yeah.
God, right, okay.
I feel like there's a whole topic on this we can do. I'm going to steal it for a podcast, probably.
There's a list in this, let me tell you, brother. So the one that comes to mind immediately for me, thinking about today's wrestling landscape, specifically with how things have gone over the past 5 years, is the 2015 Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns, The Rock, the booze, the failure, the bandwagon, the dogpiling, the everything else. Because up until that point, there was a little bit of kickback about Reigns as the guy and the top dude and all this stuff. But until that Rumble, until he won that match, I'm getting the right Rumble, right? I get my years mixed up a lot.
We all know which one you mean.
You know the one I mean. Until that moment, it didn't really go into kind of overdrive. And after that moment, it felt like everything just jumped the shark. They were investing in this guy that people didn't want to invest in. They were pushing this guy down people's throats, as folk love to say, and all this. And it kind of poisoned their main event level programming for several years. Things have obviously improved in terms of Roman's crowd reactions. He had that awful brush with leukemia. He's back now, he's getting good responses, but the responses aren't as loud as they could be had he truly gotten over as a top level character, as a top level babyface. So yeah, that Royal Rumble, man, it is just poison. It was total poison.
Do you know what? Well, the one I thought of things like that. I thought about, just some ones where people have gone over in the main event of WrestleMania who probably shouldn't have or whatever. I've thought about Asuka losing to Charlotte Flair, which really pissed me off, and Shinsuke losing to AJ Styles on that show. That really pissed me off. But probably not the biggest, no doubt wouldn't have completely changed the industry, but the thing that immediately jumped into my head when I read that question, probably a little bit biased here, is the Nexus losing to Team Cena at SummerSlam. Oh, yeah. What were you thinking? I'm biased because, of course, Stu Bennett, formerly known as Wade Barrett, is my best friend, but it was just so stupid.
Yeah, it was.
When Edge and Chris Jericho go, I'm not sure about that decision, you've done something wrong.
Yeah, that was very, very selfish stuff, very terrible stuff, and we've missed out on all those great years we could have had of Michael Tarver in the WrestleMania main event as a result.
And all the bollocks, I should mention, surrounding the Summer of Punk, where he just lost loads because Triple H got a Triple H. Yeah. Speaking of which, let's move on to today's and finally, we mentioned the Ruthless Aggression series on the WWE Network, talking about Evolution. That was the most recent one after it was released after Monday Night Raw this week, and a tweet from Mark Jindrak.
Marco Corleone.
You remember him? He, of course, was meant to be a member of Evolution, was subsequently replaced by Batista. There's a clip where Triple H basically admits that they turned up for filming with their suits, looking cool, walking through the streets with the heat rising off the pavement and what have you. And Triple H went, why the bloody hell's Mark Jindrak here? He openly says he didn't want him in the group. Vince wanted him in the group. And obviously that never eventually happened. But Mark Jindrak has responded. He's on the documentary, so he seems in reasonable spirits about all that. But he says, well, it feels nice to have closure after 17 years. I understand why he didn't want me in the group, but it won't stop me from challenging him at WrestleMania. Triple H versus Mark Jindrak. See you in Tampa, Paul. Bring your black suit.
I love that he called him Paul.
Oh! I actually do kind of want to see this.
So do I. Why not? Mark Jindrak, get back on TV.
Go on, Mark.
Get him, Mark. Get him, Mark.
Good stuff.
That's good. Good for Mark Jindrak. He's forged a pretty decent career for himself in Mexico and stuff since then.
And good for being a fantastic sport about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And beat Paul. I mean, you won't. It's WrestleMania and Triple H, but
beat up Paul Cena.
Good luck. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dudley Boys will not only be previewing the Wednesday Night War, but also Super Showdown a little bit later on today. Plus, let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. And watch there, follow both of us. You can follow him at
Sandy H. Murray. The H stands for Happy Birthday Pentagon Jr., who's 35 today. Didn't do that for Ric Flair yesterday. He's 71, so sorry, Rick.
Happy birthday, Penta. I've seen him hit some horrific moves in person. Yeah. Please don't hurt us.
What was it? And a member of the Office who shall go unnamed called him that time when he was outside the venue? Rey Mysterio's little mate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Guess about that in the comments. Right, thanks, Sandy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon. Your little mate. Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture, here to let you know we want your live event videos, whether that be something that happened after the cameras stopped rolling, or your reaction to something amazing that went down at the show you were at. Stuff like this.
One of the other sweetest things I've ever seen was just recently when we saw Roman Reigns kick the shit out of cancer and come back on Monday Night Raw.
So make sure you send them to us in all the usual ways. You can tweet them at us, you can send them to us on Facebook, you can email them to us. Hell, if it's your sort of thing, you can stick them on a memory stick and post them to WhatCulture. But the one thing you need to remember is good, bad. Thanks for watching. Bye.